Hi, and welcome to Business Unusual. I am Liz Whitehead, co-mastermind at Diversity Masterminds. I'm here as always with Heather Cox,
Hi, the other co-mastermind at Diversity Mastermind.
and we're here with our guest today, Millie Kingren. Hi, Millie.
Hi, guys.
So we're going to get into what happens when business unusual becomes business as usual. But before we do that, Millie, tell us a little bit about your business, Optimize Courier.
We are a 3PL transportation company. What that means is that we arrange shipments without having our own equipment, our own trucks, our own drivers. We outsource that to partners that we deal with. But we make the arrangements in terms of decision on where to pick up, where to export from, who to use for clearance and delivery, typically internationally. Although we do ship domestically, the majority of our business is international.
Okay, great. And how long have you been in that business?
Ooh, 30, 35 years. We opened the company in 2010, but we've been in the industry,
Wow.
yeah, for a very long time.
Okay, so what we're talking about is business unusual, and this obviously isn't your first crisis in business. You've been through other things. What are some of the lessons that other business challenges or setbacks have taught you that prepared you or didn't prepare you for what we're going through now?
I think in terms of impact, I would say 9/11 had the level of impact that COVID has had. During 9/11, obviously everything shut down. There were no aircraft, there was just nothing going on.
Right.
We didn't own a company then. We were employed by another company, but it was, if you were in the transportation business, 9/11 was a significant shift because not only did it shut us down for whatever length of time it was, but it also created a lot of changes in transportation. The TSA came into effect, the checking of all cargo, the requirements for employees to be vetted. It's almost like a chain link. So this one's responsible for this, one's responsible for this. And so ultimately everybody's responsible for safety of aircraft in the air. And now it's become pretty much the norm. But initially scrambling to adhere to those regulations,
Right.
was a serious change.
Yeah.
It's so funny you say that about the norm, because I was at the airport not too long ago, and I remember going through TSA and thinking I can't remember a time when I didn't do that. At the point, it's now become so normal. I know we did. I remember when I went after high school, I went to Europe. I just my parents and I walked out to the tarmac, walked up the stairs. I know they were, but I can't remember it.
Exactly. You could take whatever you wanted, regardless of the size. Now,
Totally.
anything over 3 ounces, and they take it.
Yeah.
Because we travel, for me, it's worth the precaution.
Oh, for sure.
Those lines
For
are
sure.
ridiculous. Sometimes you can be on those lines for an hour plus, but it keeps us alive. I'm okay with that.
Right. Right.
Change is fair.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
and that's a good segue into, what we're doing now, right? There was a huge scramble in February, March, maybe earlier for you because you're an international business. What are some of those things you had to scramble and do?
It's interesting. We deal with NFOs, which are expedite shipments, and biopharm. The NFO industry to a halt. I mean, everything's closed, factories are closed, automobiles are not being made, aircraft are not flying, that kind of thing. So that part of our business had gone silent. Interestingly enough, the biopharm never really did. We were still shipping samples, and because so many collaborations, international collaborations are taking place between our universities and theirs, or government health facilities. It never really did shut down. Where we're having the bigger problem is that airlines are limiting their flights, because without passengers,
Right.
they lose money. And so there's not the space for cargo. And unfortunately, it's put us in a position where, number one, you're paying through the nose for the cargo space that you do get to. But number two, you have customers that you tell them, okay, I'm booked. You're going to get your freight XYZ date. And then you go to drop at the airline and they'll say, oh, we're kind of overbooked. So now we're going to double your charge, or we're not going to be able to load. And it's
Wow.
really disgraceful what airlines are doing in certain instances. And I can understand supply and demand, but the other part of it is that there will be business after COVID. And the ones that are doing it, though, are the ones that know they're secure. You can't go anywhere else but to use them. And that's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Right.
Not only as a business person who has to now scramble to explain to a customer that this isn't really us trying to rip you off. This is real. But just from a general, wow.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and you brought up a theme that comes up a lot in Business Unusual, which is that you had two different lines of business, right? You had one line of business that just stopped completely, completely halted. But then the biofarm industry, I mean, with good reason, right? We're starting to hear now about the vaccines coming out and things like that they didn't stop working. So that diversification really helped you. And did you do that deliberately, or was that just a part of your business processes?
It was part of the growth of the company, part of the road that we've traveled, so to speak. So done on purpose, but we certainly felt it was a blessing.
Solid. Yeah.
Yeah, plenty of other companies are in trouble and still continue to be because they're dependent on specific industries. So
Yeah.
Right.
So what are some of those changes that, you mentioned, before in TSA and the way everything works, and now it's become the norm? What are some of those changes that you think might become the norm in the transportation industry?
it's difficult because transportation is transportation. It isn't a product that can be changed. We pick up, we drop off, we recover. There's just, there's not much fanciness about it. So I don't think that
Right.
I think if anything, there will be, business will shift into maybe understanding that there are going to be unexpected delays, whether it's more limited flights, or when you're delivering, you can no longer go into facilities. Now you have to wait, you have to be fully masked. So things like that won't be considered until months, if not years from now, where they'll settle into a pattern the way the TSA did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's,
Do you think that deliveries are going to continue to be delayed?
Yeah, that's good.
I think right now there are some unexpected delays. Sometimes there's a lot more requirements to call, make arrangements, where before the driver could just pull up
Right.
to the gate, give the guard the name,
Throw it in the truck.
and he would be waved in and dropped off. And now, in certain cases, appointments have to be escorted in, that kind of thing. So yeah, I do think that there are instances where that will change. But I think human nature is human nature. And when they come up with a vaccine, everybody will pretty much say, okay, disaster averted.
Memories are short.
Yeah, absolutely. People will.
Right. I mean, yeah. Well, I'm just thinking of the consumer, right? Like, I like getting my packages right away. Right away is when I want my stuff, right? So now they're like, okay, I could be understanding, but now I've been understanding for like 9 months. Right? So like, how much longer am I going to be understand? I expect 2021. I don't want to wait anymore. I'm tired of waiting, people.
That's so funny.
Imagine how much fun it is for me, because I'm supposed to be understanding, but
I know.
in my personal life, it's like I want it and I want it now. If I didn't want it, I wouldn't have ordered it.
Right. Exactly.
A lesson
I think-
in patience.
I think we've all been conditioned too, because we could, I mean, before
Totally.
we had same day shipping, we could all go to the store and get what we wanted when we wanted it.
You
Like,
know,
we could just
Why would
go
we do that?
to the store
No,
and get it.
here is the point, Liz. We're all so busy. If I can order it and it's home by the time I get home from the office, like, why would I want to wait 3 more days for that? Now I have to go to the store. You are making me go in public because you will not get me my stuff right now.
I know.
it's so true. It's so true. We have become spoiled. It's like, you know,
We're
just
spoiled, all of us.
needed one more reason not to exercise or walk. No, I can just sit in front of my computer, order, bring it to me. All I have to do is get up, open the door, and
Yeah.
there'll be negatives to that too.
So one of the things, this also reminds me of a perpetual conversation we have too about doing business with small business owners, women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, LGBT-owned businesses during this time. So what are some things that you and your company have done to support other small business owners during COVID-19?
We have, it's interesting because we hadn't thought about that, but we recently sent out a survey to all our suppliers, our vendors, to determine and classify, and was actually gratified to see that 35% of them are minority, female, veteran. Yeah.
Great.
Wow.
It's pretty
That's
neat.
awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to see how many of us there are out there. So
Yeah.
And are they certified?
I did not ask that. I didn't send the questionnaire, my staff did, and I don't know that they sent that they asked that particular question, but at this point, I don't think, it's kind of a rough industry sometimes. So, you know, I don't think truckers, hey, are you certified, would get me more than none of your business. I'm busy here. I've got work to do. So, no.
Oh, that's great though.
That's
But a
funny.
lot of the trucking companies you're working with are diverse business owners. That's great to know.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of them are in contractors, the truckers, right? So they're one guy who is, you know, a veteran, or one guy who's a minority or something like that.
No, these are companies. So they're not specifically trucking company, but they're transportation companies. So they have
Oh, okay.
offices that have employees who they send out. We have 1 or 2 independent contractors that work for themselves in that manner, but the majority of them, it needs
Oh,
companies because one
cool.
people just can't handle the volume on any given day.
Right.
Wow. So one of the things we always ask people too is how, I mean, we usually get to how their workforce has changed. Now, do you have people that come into an office? Has that changed at all? Or what are you doing to keep your team safe?
We have a lot of people that work from home, and we have people that work overseas in China, Mexico, Latin America. And so we're kind of used to the module of, we rely on Teams. So our meetings, our conversations, they're had on Teams. We need to get back to the office though. So our Atlanta office is now, we've got 3 people in and we're looking to hire 4 more. It makes a difference. Even if you've got the
Wow.
work ethic possible, you can't help but be distracted, whether it's to feed the dog or to put in a load of wash. You know, you fool yourself into saying, it's okay, I can stay 5 minutes extra at the end, but let me start my meal and my dinner and my shopping list, and you don't realize it because now you're in your own space. Now what you can normally avoid
Right.
looking at, that you're responsible for when you're in your workplace, now you're staring at it all day long, and it's tempting and very easy to slide into, I'll just take care of this little thing and nobody will know the difference, but they add up. So there's a different sense of focus when you work from home, I believe, than when you're in the office.
Yeah. Heather's been going.
I
into
think
the
it definitely
office.
takes a certain personality. It takes a first personality to like go to work from home and be really good at it. And I did it for years, but I really prefer, like, as you said, being in the office, having my focus. So when I'm home, right? But I know that some of my employees love the fact that they'll work a few hours in the morning and then they'll hang out with the boss for a couple hours and then go back in the evening. You know what I mean? So I think it depends on the personality, because some people do really well, but other people are like, hey, what happened? Oh, hey, what's one? Hey, there's a gardener outside. And you get so distracted.
And that's
Okay,
fine.
so that's me. That's
Industry is depending on the industry, but when you're customer service and you need people to be at the
right.
and
That's
the
true.
computer to take orders, provide
That's
service,
different. Yeah.
and they're busy, you know, oh, the gardener's outside.
Yeah.
Problem. It can definitely be
Right.
a problem.
Great. Well, so wrapping up, so this has been really interesting because we haven't talked to somebody in your type of industry before, and both in customer service and the transportation industry. But what are one of the things, so we talked about, you know, obviously some of the things that stayed after 9/11, you know, in terms of business, but what are what's one thing, once coronavirus goes away, that you'd like to see stay from this period of time, if anything?
I'd like to see actually the attention to just basic, as ridiculous as it sounds, just basic common sense, you know, wash your hands, cover, just that level of attention, because it will. This time we're avoiding COVID, but if you can avoid the flu or the common cold and not bring that home just by virtue of washing your hands to the count of 20 seconds, then why not?
Right.
Why not do it? And again, it sounds ridiculous, but everybody's so busy that you just think, oh, I just brought in the groceries. That's okay. I'll wash my hands in a minute. And before you know it, you know, now you're looking down and it's like, okay, well, now I'm handling my groceries and I still haven't washed my hands. This has made you more, or me certainly, more attuned to nope. You know,
Right. Wash them now.
We have the sanitizer. It goes on the steering wheel. It goes on the door. And it sounds ridiculous. Now, I'm not aggressive about the mask. Like, I wear the mask if I'm in a crowded place, if I'm in a shopping area, that kind of thing. So I'd like to see the masks be a part of the past. And based on the fact
and
that
the washing stay
wears it, I don't know that it's ever going to go away.
Oh, I think I'm going to wear a mask every time I'm on a plane. I was like, this is the best I've ever felt. I traveled to see Heather. Actually, Heather and I both traveled earlier this year. And the best I ever felt traveling was during COVID.
On an airplane, it's never made sense. Now, remember, I'm old enough to have been on airplanes when you could smoke on airplanes.
Oh,
Never made sense that they had
smoking and non-smoking.
Aisle 15 and up was smoking. Aisle 16 and back was not. It's air. Am I missing something? So in an airplane, absolutely. I haven't flown. I'm still a little nervous. We've gone to Atlanta and we in December, but we've opted to drive. And then this way we're a little bit more contained, but I absolutely agree. Flying in the future, that would be an instance where wearing a mask just makes sense.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, this is great. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for joining us today and talking about your business. I learned a little bit about your business too, so that's great. Where can people find you if they need 3PL and transportation logistics solutions?
All they have to do is go to www.optimize-courier.com. We have a page there that allows you to contact our customer service, and they'll reply to you typically within 5 minutes or so.
Wow. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Millie.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we will see you next time on Business Unusual.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course.